All right, once again, it's Friday night. The evening is going to be a little bit of a mystery of what we're going to be doing. So the plan right now is to we're going to relocate the boost pressure regulator on the Z, get it off the intake, try to get it out of the heat a little bit. We got a turbo guard to put on our turbo, and then we were supposed to go racing. But there is a looming possibility we might be actually doing something totally different. We did find a deal on Craigslist. It is a 2001 IS 300 that's been wrecked in the back. Running, driving car. 2JZ GE engine in it with the VVTi and an automatic trans. And so we made the guy a lowball offer, see if he would take the bait. And I'm waiting to hear back from him. He hasn't made any sounds in a while, so he might have declined our offer. But we like the idea of having an extra powertrain just sitting up here at the storage unit in case need arises at some point. You know, this L-Series motor can only handle so much. And we don't know how much more we're going to throw at it before it lets go. We don't know if we're going to put another L-Series in it. We got the good block that everybody wants in it now. We got the good head. We got, really the only place we can go from here is building the internals, which I think is going to be a pretty expensive endeavor because I haven't really found any cheap parts for the internals. So if we end up grenading this motor, we don't want to go stick another one of the same thing in it and just have the same thing happen again the first time we go at the track. And we definitely don't want to be slower. So we were going to get the 2JZ and the transmission from that and just kind of hold on to them, just scrap the rest of the car and have an extra option. It's something that I think would fit really well and we could make a lot of power with for pretty cheap, relatively cheap. Anywho, I'm going to see if that guy's interested in doing that deal. In the meantime, I'm going to get the regulator put on this thing and the turbo screen. If we don't hear that we're buying a car today, then we're going racing. So let's see how it goes. All right, so I got the turbo guard put on the car, relocated the boost pressure regulator, and we just got the trailer hooked up, but we're actually going to be dropping the Z right now because plans for the night have changed.
We're going to go look at a 2J.
There's actually, we just talked to the buyer. We offered $500 for the Lexus. He countered with $600, and so
we're close.
That's close enough for us to go out and look at it. He says we can test drive it, see how it runs and how the transmission shifts and stuff. So as long as everything's fine, we're bringing it home no matter what. Even if we have to pay $600, but we might still try to save a little.
Don't tell him that though, guys.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's only worth $500. Honestly, we're just throwing him a bone, you know. So we're heading out to freaking Irving, and we'll show you what we find when we get there.
What a beautiful, glorious day to go buy a 2JZ.
It is, yes, indeed.
Yes, quite.
So, the story of the Z, as probably few of you know, when we originally bought the Z, the plan was to just get something cheap that we could just soup up, just throw junk parts at and weld together and not really care about it and see how fast it would go. And our coworker Mike, who works at the shop with us, who was also there in that episode that nobody has ever seen, found the Z on Craigslist, and so that's what we ended up buying, and it turned out to be a wonderful journey in our lives and a stepping stone we'll never forget as we grow into adults. So Matt and me have been kind of, we always try to be a couple of steps ahead or have a plan for everything, and we're getting to where we're turning, we have the fuel system, we have the turbo, we have everything we need to just send this engine to the moon. But the only thing stopping us is a hint of responsibility. So we've had talks about upgrading the motor to handle more boost or more power, and
we've really been pretty conservative with it up to this point.
We've been pretty mature, I'd like to say. But in order to build that motor is just obnoxiously expensive, and even then we're still working with the stock block. We're very limited on quality of parts. We really have like few options. They're all eBay, and they're expensive. So it's like for less than half of that, we could basically have an engine that's as strong as a built motor. We don't even have to take apart.
Yeah. I mean, they say that the stock bottom end on a 2JZ is good to, 800 plus.
Yeah, I mean, there's guys running, at least that much. I'm sure there's people out there running.
Those guys that were out at North Star that one time with that salad bowl turbo. Biggest thing I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, definitely one of the fastest cars we've seen out there. At least door slamming full body car.
And the stock bottom end on their motor, and they had to be making 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah. I'm not sure the details on that, but anyway, I'm pretty sure it's a good one. So we're gonna go
find out.
We're gonna get, as long as everything pans out and it runs good, we'll be using the engine, the transmission, the ECM, and the entire engine harness. It's all got to come apart, and so that'll be something that happens real soon because we got to get rid of the car. We don't have space for it.
I'm calling Harry right now. Hey Harry, what's going on? Straight. So, you know what we're doing right now? No, dude, we're going to Irving. You know why? We're going to look at a 2J.
Oh, fuck yeah. Manual?
No, it's automatic. So we want to win races. Where are you, dude? We're going through Denton right now.
Use the left lane to make a U-turn.
If you want to come pick me up.
Alright, yeah, we'll be there soon. We gotta stop at Chase, but then we'll be there. Look who we found. We found a prostitute. It's cheap. We're gonna pay him for sex things after we buy a 2J.
So we're getting close. We're about to be there to check the car out. It's getting a little trailer parky out here, so we're not sure what we're walking into.
I was hoping we were going to the good part of Irving. I'm not sure if we are.
But luckily we picked up Harry so he can die with us.
We're gonna trade him for the car.
We're gonna trade his body for our lives.
We'll pick you up next week,
In 1
next Friday.
mile, turn left onto Jocelyn.
Damn, look at this Lexus, dude. Bitch is clean.
Fucking cherry.
I mean, not that part. But dude, this thing has a top-notch engine and tranny in it. And we're gonna do something with it. Something rowdy. All right, so what we have here is a 2001 Lexus IS 300. It's got a 2JZ GE engine in it. And that's all we want from this thing. Okay, initially I wanted the transmission, the ECM, the harness, and figured out that without the stock ECM, the transmission is useless because it's all electronic and it's controlled with the ECM. But the stock ECM in these Toyotas is not tunable at all. It's not, apparently there's no way to tune it. You have to get like a piggyback ECU or go full standalone, in which case the transmission doesn't work. I found a guy who actually is going to give me a pretty fair amount of money for the front bumper, the fenders on both sides, the hood, the headlights, and maybe a couple other little things. And he's going to give me like 450 bucks for everything, which is nearly what we have into the car. So at that point, it's like, well, shit, we barely paid anything for it. We might as well put it to use. So we're going to go ahead and pull out the engine and try to retain as much of the harness as we can because we're going to need all those connectors and stuff. And then just kind of start slowly working on a build. I found that there's an adapter to mate up a Turbo 400 to a 2JZ. There's actually several adapters out there. They're pretty pricey, but I think if we can source a pretty cheap Turbo 400, I can just rebuild it. And then we'll have just to buy the adapter plate and we'll be up and ready to throw this thing in the Z. And I think I can use the MS3 to control this without changing a whole hell of a lot. Anyway, so I'm gonna start pulling all the body panels off of this thing and get it ready to give to its new home. I think that's the whole order. Fenders, liners, bumper, headlights, hood. And yeah, we got it all done. This is really probably like all that's worth anything on this car. Got both the fenders, both fender liners. This is the little cardboard like carpet cover for the trunk. It goes over the spare, headlights, bumper, and hood.
Well, this is it. It's 2J night. We're gonna just yank it out, probably transmission too. I guess we're gonna say bye-bye to the car on Tuesday.
The car's gonna be going to scrap tonight. We're just gonna yank out engine and transmission assembly. We wanna keep our wiring harness intact because we might go plug and play on the ECM. anyway, it'd be less trouble to have to make a wiring harness. So wires got to come out, but all the hoses, AC hoses, power steering hoses, everything, it's chopping time. In fact, we're gonna get started chopping first thing here after we get the fluids out of it. And we're gonna make easy work out of this. For sale!
For the low price of make us an offer.
We got her! It only took us a couple hours. We got all the factory harness on there. Yeah, pizza brake. Still got AC compressor. We did take the power steering pump off because we didn't even have to undo any of the hoses for that. So the scrapyard can have that.
Piece of cake, buddy.
Yeah, easy money.
Easy money.
Tranny's right here.
Now,
Hell yeah, now the work starts.
well, we done did a lot of things. Look at that empty car.
Hell yeah. Just getting, cutting some of the fat off of it now that we know we're not gonna need to mess with later. I'm not really sure what all we're gonna need to use later on. So just in conclusion, on the Lexus, we got the engine out of it. We got everything we're going to use, which is basically just the engine and the harness. We are going to be giving the car over to a salvage yard with the transmission and the radiator fans, just anything that we thought might have some resale value. We're just going to include with the car when we go and hand it off to those guys this week. On the engine, basically what the plan is for the engine is we want to build the internals on it. We want to do pistons and rods in it and head studs and a good head gasket. Because once the time comes we're ready to use this thing, we don't want to have to worry about any of that stuff. We want the engine to be pretty bulletproof so we can send it with a whole lot of boost. So moving forward, we're going to keep racing with the L28. We're going to keep giving it hell. We're going to do what we can to make it faster. I do have some plans on some stuff we're going to do to it, but we're not going to be throwing any large amounts of money at that engine anymore. We're going to kind of try to build up around what we can and make it as fast as we can. You know, we're going to push it with a lot of boost. We're going to keep trying to refine the tune. Something's going to give eventually. I don't know if it's going to be the engine. It likely is going to be the transmission that just gives up next, you know, and if that happens, then we may be pulling a good engine out of the car. But honestly, I plan to push that engine just to make it as fast as we possibly can. And then once we come to a dead end there, then that's when we'll begin the 2J project. But in the meantime, me and Matt are going to start compiling parts. We're going to be throwing money at one thing at a time, building a collection. I'm going to go through the whole engine and get it built up, ready to go. And yeah, so once it's ready and the time comes, we'll be ready to get it in the car and make the 2J swap happen. So we'll definitely have some more action coming next Friday, and we'll see you then.